This video is kindly sponsored by EcoFlow. Hello and welcome to another stunning day in North Wales. So we're out on a bit of a mini road trip today and we're starting at this place which looks to be pretty amazing. But whilst I've been here this last few days, I've been thinking about what the biggest problem is in landscape photography. And I've come to the conclusion it's nothing to do with gear or techniques, it's something much deeper. But fortunately, it's actually one of the easiest things to fix and it doesn't cost anything at all. But we're going to get onto that a little bit later on in the video. So behind me here is the coastal town of Harlech, which is a World Heritage Site. And you might just be able to see it over my left shoulder there, Harlech Castle, which is absolutely incredible. And I think it's the castle that's drawn me to this location because I was thinking about shooting that, seeing whether I can get a shot of the castle with the sand dunes in the foreground and the mountains in the background. I haven't managed to find a composition that will work for that just yet, mainly because of the very flat lighting conditions that we've got. However, on reflection, I think this location offers way more than a shot of the castle because these sand dunes look absolutely fantastic. And what I've noticed is some of the sand dunes mimic the contours of the mountain ranges that we've got in the background. So I actually think I might be working on that this morning rather than the castle that I came here to shoot. So I'll do this quite a lot actually during the middle part of the day or when the conditions are not great. You know, I scout out new locations, try to work out a composition and then figure out if it's something to revisit in different lighting conditions or at a different time of the year. And I think it's really good practice and can definitely lead to better photographic opportunities. And you never know, another opportunity might present itself in the meantime and you might even come away with a fantastic image. So like I mentioned, the light is very flat, but there is some light hitting the top of the Snowdon Massif, which is pretty cool. So I'm taking a shot through these sand dunes here, a bit of a layering process if you like. Sand dunes in the foreground, hills in the midground, mountains at the back there, trying to get some kind of order with the patterns of the sand dunes in the foreground. But the sky is very, very dramatic. And I think that helps to tie the image together. If it was a very bright sky, I think the eye would just get led straight up out the top of the frame and it'd be pretty uninteresting. But that real dramatic, moody sky keeps the eye focused in the frame. It's probably going to be a 16:9 or more of a panoramic kind of framing. But while I'm waiting, I just thought I'd mention about my van. I've been doing quite a bit of work on it recently and I'd say we're about 50% of the way there to completion, which is pretty cool. Hopefully in the next few weeks I'll get it finished. Now, I was hoping this was going to be my first dedicated photography overnight trip in the van, but sadly that's not been the case. But yeah, I'll tell you what, instead of me talking about it, I'll actually show you a bit when we go back to the van before we move on to the next location. But yeah, but anyway, here's this image and we'll talk some more. So we didn't get any light on the castle, but I don't think that really matters too much. But anyway, let's go and take a look at the van. I'll show you what I've been up to, and then we'll get to our next location, which is absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait. And hopefully we're going to get a good sunset too for this evening. So if you watched the video about a month or so ago, you might remember that it was just basically a panel van. It had nothing done to it. So since then, I've insulated all of the walls and sound deadened all of the panels. I've applied the floor, put the vinyl down, which looks really nice. I'm really pleased with that. And carpeted all of the walls, the doors, and the ceiling panels as well. I've also put some LED spotlights in the ceiling as well, which look really nice when they're plugged in. They're not actually connected yet, but it's almost like a clean slate, if you will, ready for the furniture. I've also had some windows installed. Now, I didn't do those myself. It's the only thing I haven't done myself so far. I didn't really want to be cutting the panels out of my new van. I really didn't want to do that. It only cost me, I think, £250 to get them installed. And that's a sliding window in the sliding door there and the two barn doors. So yeah, add some light into the space without it feeling too much like a camper van, because I really want to try and make this van more sort of stealthy. So it just looks like a regular van, but obviously internally that's kind of where the magic's going to happen, hopefully. So a few things have evolved since my original plan. mainly the electrics, and this is what I've decided to go for. It's the EcoFlow Delta 2 Max, which is going to power pretty much everything in here. As I mentioned at the start of the video, EcoFlow are kindly sponsoring this week's video, and the Delta 2 Max is going to be the perfect solution, I think, for my camper van conversion. Let me just show you what it can do. So it comes with very advanced LFP batteries that have 2048 watt-hour capacity, which can be expanded by adding EcoFlow's smart batteries that plug into the side here. The batteries have a lifespan of over 3,000 complete cycles before they reach 80% capacity, which is approximately 10 years if you use it every single day. Now it's got 4 AC outlets in the back here. It's got USB charging, fast charging, and a 12-volt port in the back there. You can charge it via solar, the car alternator, or AC input. And an 80% charge is attainable in about 53 minutes via AC, which is super quick. Now the Delta 2 Max can handle appliances with outputs up to 3,100 watts, and this means you can pretty much power most things from household appliances to heavy duty power tools. So there's lots more information on the EcoFlow's website about the Delta 2 Max, so be sure to go and check out the link in the video description for more info on this amazing piece of technology. Right, let's hit the road, because it's about an hour's drive now to our next location, which looks to be a really interesting spot. And fingers crossed we get a good sunset. So as mentioned, I've been thinking a lot about the biggest challenge in landscape photography recently, and I've spoken to a lot of people about this, and it seems to be a common struggle, one that definitely affects me from time to time, and that is simply not going. Now I know this might sound like a strange thing to say, but I really believe it's one of the biggest obstacles. It's so much easier to say, nah, I'll skip it this morning, than it is to drag yourself out of bed in the dark and actually get out there. On top of that, as you build your portfolio, it becomes really easy to avoid revisiting certain locations, or even picking up the camera if you don't think you'll come away with a shot that's better than what you've already taken. And honestly, I've found that the longer this goes on, the worse it gets. That mindset can creep in and leave you feeling even less inspired to head out. But if this sounds familiar, don't worry, I have a simple solution that might help. By the way, how epic is this place? Views across the estuary are just incredible. The light out there looks pretty good as well. Now, we have a couple of hours until sunset, so it'll be really interesting to see what we can find along this path here. If we get a good sunset tonight, we're definitely going to be able to get the telephoto lens out and pick out some detail shots. And that's the type of photography I absolutely love, when I just want to sort of relax and chill out and just enjoy the moment, because it's so much easier than, you know, trying to find a foreground. But with views like that, you really don't need a foreground. So we'll see what we can come up with a bit later, but I really want to do a bit of this walk. Right, let's have a little look around here. So I've actually decided to take a shot because I've got these wonderful beams of light coming through the clouds, lighting up the sea, so we've got somewhere for the eye to be drawn towards. The tide's quite low, so we get this meandering patterns through the estuary there. If it was a high tide, it'd just be continuous river. So I think it looks quite nice, and I think if we wait, maybe that light will be gone later and we might not get anything at all. So yeah, bust out the camera, get the telephoto out, take a shot, and we can always see if we can better it a bit later on, can't we? Yeah, let's put the telephoto on. So I don't know if you noticed on the drive over, the mountainside was on fire, smoke was pouring across the road. And yeah, I'm not sure what was going on there, maybe the heather or maybe some peat on fire. It was very, very thick, dense smoke that was coming out the side of the mountain. But you can see that smoke in the estuary mouth there. The wind must be drifting it across, so I'm not sure whether that's hampered my shot there. Maybe the wind will change direction a bit later and we'll be able to get a cleaner shot. These gorse bushes look amazing, absolutely beautiful. So going back to what I was saying before, how can we fix this slightly negative mindset that tries to block us from doing what we actually love? Well, for me at least, I think it comes down to embracing the normal, finding inner peace with taking photos for the experience and nothing more. You know, being happy photographing a crack in a rock or a pattern in the sand. It doesn't always have to be epic. If everything hinges on the outcome of the final image, I found it's a one-way ticket to burnout. So yeah, embrace the norm and remove the shackles. It's okay to take less than average photos if you allow yourself to enjoy the process of taking them. So it looks like there's an old abandoned house just down here, which I'm definitely going to check out. So many abandoned buildings in Wales. It's incredible. Everywhere you walk you seem to find one. Not sure whether there's a shop here or not, but I'm definitely going to explore a little bit more. You never know. So I don't think there's a shop down here, but I'm wondering if we can get up a bit higher, maybe look down, that might be an option. Maybe if we head up there, we can get a view looking back down to the house. There she is, mountains in the background. Could work. So I've set the tripod up here because we've got a bit of elevation gain, and we're now looking down through the rooftop of the old building down there, which is situated in this amazing little pine woodland, which is fantastic. Now, when I first arrived, the little cottage down there was in deep dark shadow, and you couldn't really see it, to be honest, at all. And then after a period of about 5 minutes, the light was streaming down there and hitting the building, and the shadows became too harsh and all the trees were lit up, and it just looked a bit sort of in your face, if you like. So what I'm trying to go for is enough light down there that you can see the cottage and a little bit of detail and shadow and highlight detail without it really standing out. So we kind of get that transition from dark to light. And it's just about waiting, because what tends to happen is as the clouds pass in front of the sun, you get that transition, that soft graduation of the cloud just passing in front, and that just diffuses the light enough for us to see those details without it being too bright. What I'll do, because I've taken quite a few shots already, as I continue to shoot this scene, I'll put a couple of different versions up so you can see. But the light's good now, so I'm going to take another one. Focused on the trees. Now the light's becoming too harsh. So yeah, you don't have long at all. And with a 2-second timer, you've got to just kind of judge it just right. But anyway, yeah, I'll put a couple of different versions of this up so you can see exactly what I mean. So going back to this photography problem just for a moment, and I just want to talk about why people tend to book workshops and tours, because it's something I always ask when I have somebody on a one-to-one or a group workshop. And I think there's 3 common reasons that people will book one. One is, they want to learn new techniques. 2, they want to meet like-minded people. And 3, and probably by far the biggest reason, is to rekindle or get back into landscape photography. I do know this because I do ask a lot of people why they chose to book a workshop or tour with me. And it seems to be a common problem. People get into shooting landscapes only to quickly lose that enthusiasm to go out and shoot again. Now, I think one of the reasons why people tend to lose their mojo, so to speak, is because they focus too much on the outcome of photography as opposed to, as cheesy as this sounds, the journey or the experience of photography. So I think for me personally, and I can only really give my personal opinions about this, but for me, photography is all about the experience. If I concentrate on the outcome, I'm often disappointed, and that leads to negativity, and that leads to me not wanting to go out and shoot. If I just concentrate on the experience, the enjoyment of actually taking the photos and being in places like this, I just want to go out and shoot more. And ultimately that leads to more opportunities and better photos. So you're kind of walking on a knife edge most of the time, I think, with landscape photography, because it is very hard and you do have to put in the time and the effort to get good photos. But yeah, for me personally, just concentrating on the experience, you know, being in places like this with these amazing views, it makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. It gives me goosebumps just looking out across here, because it is just truly spectacular. And it's for moments like this that I do landscape photography. So yeah, concentrate on the process as opposed to the outcome. This scene here is absolutely beautiful. I've got some gorse in flower in the foreground. The light's just catching it, which is just making it pop from the background there. I've set the tripod up because I'm focus stacking this image, because there's so much distance between the gorse bushes in the foreground, the river in the valley there, and the mountains. It's very hazy this evening, but the light is absolutely beautiful, streaming through the valley here. What an absolutely beautiful evening. Couldn't have asked for anything better. Anyway, put this image up and we'll chat some more. So that's the end of the light today, but what a fantastic day it's been. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. Just love this place and I can't wait to get back. Hopefully next time it will be for an overnight in the van, if I get my finger out and get it finished, that is. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, you might like the one that's up here, and why not check out my ebook, which is linked up there. I'm sure you'll find it useful if you're looking to improve your photography composition. Anyway, until next week, thanks again, take care. I'll see you soon.